In 2012, a research vessel sailed to a set of coordinates in the South Pacific. The coordinates were precise. They had been on official maps for over 100 years. They pointed to an island, roughly the size of Manhattan, sitting between Australia and New Caledonia in the Coral Sea. The island had a name: Sandy Island. It appeared on Google Earth. It appeared on French government navigation charts. It appeared in scientific databases used by researchers worldwide. It appeared on the maps of multiple National Geographic authorities. As the research vessel approached the coordinates, the crew looked at their depth sonar. The reading showed 2,200 feet of open ocean beneath the hull. They looked out at the water in every direction. There was no island. There was nothing. Sandy Island did not exist, and it had been on every map on Earth for over a century. This is the story of the most significant geographic error of the modern age. And the deeper you look into it, the more it changes about how you understand the maps we trust to tell us what this planet actually contains. The South Pacific is vast. It covers approximately 65 million square miles, nearly a third of the Earth's total surface. Within that expanse sit thousands of islands, atolls, reefs, and uninhabited landmasses, ranging from specks of coral barely above sea level to substantial islands supporting significant populations. Mapping this region accurately was one of the great challenges of the age of exploration. Ships sailed these waters in the 18th and 19th centuries under conditions that made precise positioning extremely difficult. Chronometers for accurate longitude measurement were expensive and fragile. Weather obscured celestial navigation. Currents pushed ships off calculated tracks. Errors were made. Islands were reported that were actually reefs. Reefs were reported as open water. Positions were recorded with errors of miles. And those errors, once entered into the official record, were copied forward, from chart to chart, from edition to edition, because the assumption was that a place already on the map had already been verified. But here's the part no one talks about. Sandy Island's first documented appearance in the official record dates to 1876. A whaling ship, the Velocity, reported sighting land at those coordinates and logged it. The sighting was entered into the British Admiralty charts. From the Admiralty charts, it propagated into other national mapping systems. From those systems, into the early 20th century geographic databases. From those databases, into the digital mapping era. Into Google Earth. Into the CIA World Factbook. Into scientific literature. For 136 years, no one went back to verify the original sighting. The assumption was that if it was on the chart, someone had already checked. No one had checked. And this is where things get fascinating. The research vessel that exposed Sandy Island's non-existence was not on a mission to investigate phantom islands. It was the Southern Surveyor, an Australian research ship on a geological survey of the Coral Sea region. The scientist who first flagged the anomaly was Dr. Maria Seaton of the University of Sydney, a marine geophysicist studying plate tectonics. As the Southern Surveyor's planned route passed near Sandy Island's coordinates, Dr. Seaton noticed that the island shown on the navigation charts did not appear on the ship's own high-resolution sonar bathymetry data, the detailed underwater mapping system the vessel used for its geological work. She checked the paper charts. Island shown clearly. She checked the sonar data. Nothing. Deep, open ocean. She checked Google Earth on the ship's computer. Island shown clearly, rendered as a dark landmass against the surrounding ocean with a defined shape and clear boundaries. She looked at the sonar again. 1,400 meters of water. No seafloor feature that could produce an island. No reef. No shallow area. No geological structure of any kind consistent with land. The ship altered course slightly and sailed directly through the coordinates where Sandy Island was supposed to be. Open ocean, in every direction, to the horizon. Scientists still find it difficult to fully explain how a reporting error from a single whaling ship in 1876 survived unchallenged through 136 years of advancing cartographic technology. What happens next changes everything. Because Sandy Island, it turns out, is not unique. The phenomenon of phantom islands, land masses that appear on official maps without corresponding to any actual geographic feature, has a history stretching back centuries. And the number of phantom islands that existed in official cartographic records before the satellite era is significantly larger than most people realize. Researchers studying historical cartographic errors have identified dozens of phantom islands that appeared on authoritative maps for decades or centuries before being corrected. Bermeja, a small island that appeared on Mexican maps of the Gulf of Mexico for centuries, referenced in legal documents establishing territorial waters, and then found to be absent when specifically searched for in 2009. Rupes Nigra, a mythical magnetic mountain at the North Pole that appeared on maps of the Arctic for over 200 years, copied faithfully by cartographers who had never been there. Sarah Ann Island in the Pacific, claimed by the United States under the Guano Islands Act of 1856, appearing on official American territorial maps for decades, non-existent. The pattern is consistent across every case. An initial sighting or report, sometimes genuine, sometimes a misidentification of a cloud bank, a whale, a reef just below the surface, or simply a navigational error, is entered into the official record. From that point, it propagates forward. Each subsequent map copies from the previous one. The authority of the map itself becomes the evidence for the island's existence. No one goes to look, because it's already on the map. But here's the part that reframes everything. The Sandy Island story is not primarily about the 19th century. It is primarily about 2012. By 2012, satellite imaging had been commercially available for decades. Google Earth had existed since 2005. GPS navigation was standard equipment on every research vessel in the world. The era in which geographic errors of this scale could survive undetected seemed, by every reasonable assumption, to be over. And yet Sandy Island was still there. On Google, on official charts, in scientific databases. The reason it survived into the digital era reveals something important about how institutional knowledge works, something that extends far beyond cartography. When the transition from paper charts to digital mapping systems occurred, the data was not re-verified from scratch. It was digitized. The existing paper records, containing every entry, including every inherited error, were converted into digital format. The errors came with them. And in digital format, they acquired a new kind of authority. Digital data feels more verified than hand-drawn charts. It feels like it has been checked. It hasn't necessarily been checked. It has been converted. The Sandy Island that appeared on Google Earth in 2012 was Sandy Island from a 19th century whaling ship's logbook, wearing a digital disguise. And this is where things get genuinely awe-inspiring and slightly unsettling simultaneously. The full geographic inventory of Earth's ocean surface has never been completely, independently verified. The ocean covers 71% of this planet. The pre-satellite cartographic record of remote ocean regions, particularly the South Pacific, the Southern Ocean, and parts of the Indian Ocean was produced under conditions that we now know generated significant errors. The satellite era corrected many of those errors, but the correction process was not systematic. It was opportunistic. When a satellite image happened to cover a location, and when someone happened to look at that image and compare it to the existing record, errors could be found. Sandy Island was found because a research vessel happened to sail near it and happened to have a scientist curious enough to notice the discrepancy between her sonar data and her navigation chart. How many other sandy islands are there in remote ocean regions that research vessels don't routinely pass through, in areas where satellite coverage exists but no one has systematically compared it to the inherited cartographic record? The honest answer is that no one has done that comparison comprehensively. No institution has undertaken a systematic audit of the full pre-satellite geographic record against modern satellite data. The map we trust to show us this planet, the map on your phone, the map in every navigation system, the map that tells you where you are and where everything else is built on a foundation that includes layers of inherited data that have never been fully verified. Most of it is correct. Sandy Island tells us that not all of it is. Right now, somewhere in the South Pacific, the coordinates where Sandy Island was supposed to be hold 1,200 feet of open ocean. The island that wasn't there has been removed from Google Earth, corrected on official charts, deleted from scientific databases, but it existed on every authoritative map of this planet for 136 years. And it was only found to be missing because one scientist on one research vessel happened to look at two pieces of data simultaneously and noticed they didn't agree. The map is not the territory. The map is what we believe the territory to be. And for 136 years, we believed in an island that the ocean never contained.